Good right hand by Askren.
Askren missing over the top, letting go with the knee.
Ben Askren is an up-and-coming MMA fighter with a growing following. For those of you MMA fans, you've probably already seen him in many fights and know that he'll soon be competing in many more. In today's video, we're going to talk about some strange facts about Ben Askren, MMA fighter. If you like this content, stay tuned! Before we start, if you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notifications so you can be the first to hear about my next video. Alright, let's get into it. Here are some strange facts about Ben Askren. Number 1. He's set to make his boxing debut against YouTuber Jake Paul. This is a hugely anticipated fight coming up in April 2021 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The fight is set up by Triller, who wants this fight to be put on a spectacle, therefore appealing to a wider-ranging audience. Jake Paul is a famous YouTuber with a lot of fans who aren't into boxing, so this fight will be filmed in cinematic style, as described as Stranger Things meets Tarantino. Producer Brett Marcus has said he will be filming the 4-hour pay-per-view. The show will also feature a performance from Justin Bieber, as well as Snoop Dogg, Doja Cat, and Diplo. This will be Askren's boxing debut, although he has been trained in boxing for years prior. This is also exciting, as it is a different type of boxing match, appearing more as a cinematic experience to those watching. We're looking forward to seeing what will happen against him and Jake Paul. Number 2. Askren didn't start wrestling until the 6th grade. A lot of people start training in MMA from a young age, and although Askren was still quite young when he started, this is considered pretty late for a lot of professionals. Askren, also known as Funky, is a super talented wrestler and started training with his brother when he was in 6th grade. The two then began entering different competitions around the US, which ultimately got him to become a professional. His father had a setup in their basement for him and his brother to practice, and despite being trained in other sports, Askren preferred a one-on-one sport, which is why wrestling became his favorite and the sport he ultimately decided to pursue professionally. Needless to say, he definitely made the right choice with that one. Number 3. Ben Askren beat Chris Weidman in 2001. When he was a part of NCAA in 2001, he had an incredible victory against Chris Weidman. Weidman went on to become super successful and sought after. He ended up to be the fighter who beat Anderson Silva, ultimately ending his legendary undefeated streak. So this victory is actually really great for Askren, as he defeated a really talented wrestler. Of course, Askren himself is a talented fighter, so there's no surprise there. Looking forward to seeing who else he defeats in the future. Number 4. He competed in the 2008 Olympics. If this isn't another show of Askren's incredible talent, I'm not sure what is. He went to the Olympics in 2008 as a part of the United States wrestling team, and his teammates included future MMA champions such as Henry Cejudo and Daniel Cormier. He won his first match and lost his second against Cuban wrestler and 2004 bronze medalist Ivan Fundura, which got him eliminated from the tournament. But don't worry, Askren avenged his loss against Fundura in 2010. That just goes to show you, don't mess with a talented MMA fighter. Number 5. His MMA debut. After his loss at the 2001 Olympics, Askren made the decision to start competing in MMA. He was currently in Beijing with his wife Amy, and although he was heartbroken about his loss, he decided he wanted to keep competing and wanted to step inside the cage and compete in MMA. He joined the American Top Team to start training under his stage name Funky, and eventually made his MMA debut in 2009. He defeated his first opponent by ground and pound, and went on a 19-fight streak before losing to ATT veteran Jorge Masvidal at UFC 239. His decision to keep competing was the best decision he made, as it gave him so much success after his loss at the Olympics. I bet we're all glad he decided not to give up. Number 6. Askren loves to play disc golf. Not only is he great in mixed martial arts, but Askren is also a great disc golf athlete. He had a passion for disc golf at a young age and then finished 9th in the 2011 PGDA Amateur Disc Golf World Championship. He also came in 2nd in the US for the same event in the same year. Prizing his talents in the sport, along with his successes in MMA and many more to come, there is no doubt that Askren is a super talented, passionate, and dedicated athlete, and whatever sport he plays, he will surely excel in. Number 7. He held his title for over 4 years. Ben Askren has defended one of his titles 3 times, the most in divisional history. And in addition, none of his opponents were even close to stealing his title from him, which was the one welterweight championship title. This is super impressive in itself, as he won a world title in just his 7th MMA fight, but he also defended it for a super long time, 4 years, 1 month, and 28 days to be exact. He wasn't even defeated when the title was passed down. Askren knew that nobody would beat him, and in his short retirement in 2017, he vacated the title title. Pretty generous of him, since nobody else was able to beat him for that title. Number 8. His controversial fight. Askren is a well-trained fighter, and often used his Olympic wrestling skills for an easier win, as seen in many of his fights. However, sometimes his skill backfired a little, especially in this one circumstance. By April 2015, Askren had fought over 70 professional fights, with a 7-fight win streak. He fought against Leonardo Silva dos Santos, another very skilled fighter, who used his momentum against him and managed to take control over Askren, who then unintentionally poked him in the eye. The fight was called up and no winners were named. However, Askren tried to get a rematch, but Santos actually refused. Although a rematch seems highly unlikely in the future, we hope it can happen one day, so we can find out who the true winner of the match was. Number 9. His feud with Dana White. For you UFC fans, you'll know that this has gone on for a long time and that there is a lot of talk about it. Dana White is the UFC president, and both him and Askren have been feuding for years now and really didn't get along. Some have said that their feud is the reason why Askren didn't become a part of UFC for so long, despite him being a talented and successful fighter. The feud began in 2012 when Askren went on Twitter to publicly criticize him when he claimed it would be impossible for him to test all UFC athletes. His tweet read, "The USOC randomly tests Olympic athletes in all sports. Dana saying testing his fighters would be impossible is a bold-faced lie." Dana wasn't happy with this tweet and later responded that he was the most boring fighter in history and would rather watch flies go at it. Yikes. Askren kind of had a power move after this and replied 7 years later saying, "Hope he can stay awake March 2nd, talking about his UFC debut. He also said in many interviews that Dana was a scumbag that he would never work under, even if he paid him triple. They seem to have ironed out their differences, which is great for the company and Askren's success, but people on the internet still joke about their feud, and still I doubt that they're very good friends. Number 10. His retirement. Askren announced his retirement in 2017, claiming that he was no longer in his physical prime and also wanted to retire at a good time. A lot of wrestlers tend to stay past their prime and have had some pretty bad defeats, and Askren wanted to avoid all of that. However, he left the door open a little bit, saying he would return if he was presented with the opportunity to be the #1 welterweight in the world, and a year later, exactly that opportunity was presented to him. Demetrius Johnson, fellow UFC fighter, was found a non-title holder for the first time in 7 years and was also not on good terms with Dana White, who threatened to close toe division because he was the lowest earning fighter for pay-per-view. After that, UFC and ONE made a trade. They would take Johnson, and Askren would go to UFC. This, of course, is an incredible opportunity despite working with Dana White, and this was a trade that shocked fans, but ultimately ended well for both of them, as they saw many successes after the trade. Askren has now moved away from UFC and appears to be going into boxing, which we will see his fight against Jake Paul in April of 2021. Number 11. He's a fan of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency appears to be the future of money as we know it, and many big businesses are investing in it and using it. This is beginning to grow to people as well, and Askren is one of those fans of cryptocurrency, specifically Litecoin from Bitcoin. In 2019, he posted on Twitter a PSA about cryptocurrency and Litecoin. In the short video, he shared a story about someone he paid for a service and their transaction fees. He recommended cryptocurrency as an alternative to dealing with transaction fees or for small business owners who don't like to deal with them. Of course, cryptocurrency has a lot of work to do before being accepted as a real currency, but it's definitely getting there. People with big following raise awareness of cryptocurrency, and learning more about it is a super helpful way for it to grow. This also shows that Askren is looking into the future and wants to make some smart investing moves. And finally, number 12, podcasts. As we already know, Askren likes to do things outside of MMA fighting, but some things are linked to it in some way. He co-hosts a couple of weekly wrestling podcasts: Flow Wrestling Radio Live with Christian Piles on Flow Wrestling, The Funky and FRB Show with Front Row Brian and Rockfin, and The T-Row and Funky Show with two-time NCAA champion Tommy Rowlands. Needless to say, Askren definitely loves to fill up his free time, but at least it's doing something he loves. That concludes today's video of strange facts about Ben Askren. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notifications so you can be the first to find out about my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.